Welcome to the SportsHeads NFL Betting Podcast, sponsored by redzonesports.bet. Want to know what's hot and what's not in American football? Join me, Tony Fennell, and my co-host, John Stone, as we break down every game this week. All right, John, before we get started, can I please ask you, sir, how you did with your picks last week?
Well, I think I did pretty well. 9 winners, 5 losers, and some of those losses I don't think anybody saw coming. 18-24 overall. We still have Monday night's game to go, so we may wind up with 10-5, hopefully. Go Eagles! But yes, and I think we have some interesting picks this week, and hopefully we won't have too many surprises, but not in this season. Yeah. I don't think you can expect anything but surprises, so let's rock!
All right, rock we will. Week 8, Game 1, Miami Dolphins at Baltimore Ravens. Miami got a well-deserved victory over the Jets in Week 7, John.
Yes.
And our boy Jay Cutler went out of the game with an injury, but backup quarterback Matt Moore, he came in and did a serious cleanup job.
Yes.
Can I say, by the way, how bad was that field in Miami? I mean, it reminded me of the English football pitches back in the 70s. Mudbath comes to mind. As for the Ravens, you've been saying it for weeks now. Joe Flacco looks beaten and battered, both mentally and physically. They looked outmanned, outgunned. The Vikings just smashed them. And I'm struggling to see how they're going to turn this season around. Are you with me, John? I think with or without Cutler, I'm seeing a Dolphins win here. Yeah?
Yeah. I'm surprised a little bit that Baltimore is giving 3.5. I guess it's just because they're at home. 37.5 over under. That's pretty good. Miami, that was a really impressive win. They hadn't scored more than 12 points a game all season, but they pulled out 31 against a pretty good Jets defense. Jay Cutler and Matt Moore, they combined for 304 yards, 4 touchdowns. Matt Moore himself in relief, 13-24, 188, and 2 critical touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Pulled that game for them. Jay Ajayi, the running back, not so great, 23-51, but I like the fact that they kept running the ball. That did help keep the Jets honest, especially in that fourth quarter. Wide receivers, Jarvis Landry and Kenny Stills. Boy, where did these guys come from? 13 catches, 158 yards, and 3 touchdowns. That's a great breakout, so let's see if they can keep that going. Ravens, what can you say? Another bad loss to the Vikings. Jay Flacco, he's alone. I mean, he's got no help whatsoever.
No.
27-39, 186 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, 5 sacks. Ouch.
Brutal.
6 different rushers for them, if you want to call them that. 20s for 64, and that's not going to do it. The rush defense also gave up 33 rushes for 169 yards against the Vikings and 1 touchdown. Injury-wise, Miami has some holes on the defensive line, and in their secondary, Baltimore has some holes on the offensive line, unfortunately for Joe, and in their secondary as well. Look, Miami's defense is very good, and I think they're going to dominate this game. Number 4 overall in yards, number 7 in points given up, 18.7 per game. Hell, that's a good game for Baltimore. Baltimore does have a decent rushing game, but I don't think it's going to be enough to overcome Miami's rushing defense, which is number 4 in yards, 82.3 yards per game. If Ajayi plays well and runs the ball well for Miami, they're definitely going to win this game. I think they can win it either way. Baltimore's rushing defense is last in yards, giving up 145.3 yards per game. For Miami, you better just keep an eye out. This is the first of 2 nationally televised games for them.
Really?
They haven't been on national TV in a while. The next one coming up is Sunday night, the following Sunday night against Oakland. So just keep your head in the game, Miami. But I'm going to say they're going to win it. I think Miami will beat that spread, obviously, and I'm going to take the under. I don't think a lot of points are going to be scored in this game.
Week 8, Game 2, Minnesota Vikings at the Cleveland Browns. With the Vikings sitting at 5-2, you've got to fancy their chances against the lowly Browns. And to be honest with you, you and I have a chance against the Browns. Anyway, this one's back in Twickenham, the stadium in London. So we have to factor in the old jet lag scenario. Not a lot to say about the Browns, to be honest, John. Quarterback Deshaun Kaiser, he got benched for the 2nd time in a month, and that should tell you all you need to know, to be honest. By the way, there was only 25,000 fans at that game.
Ow.
For me, John, there can only be one winner here. Keenum and co. should have no problem with the 0-7 Browns, and I think they'll put them away nicely. Nice and tidy. What are you thinking, mate?
Well, I think Vegas agrees with you. Minnesota's giving 8 on the technically on the road. Cleveland is the home game. a home team in this game. 37.5 over-under again. I think that's probably fair. I don't think a lot of points will be scored here. Minnesota, tough win over Baltimore. We just talked about it from the other side. Latavius Murray, their running back, really emerging as a star right now in the making. 18 rushes, 113 yards, and a touchdown against Baltimore. Case Keenum, he did what he had to do, managed the game. Didn't have to win it for them, which was great. 20 for 31, 188 yards. No touchdowns, 1 interception, but no sacks. Very helpful. Their rushing defense also held Baltimore to 16 rushes for 50 yards and no touchdowns. That was very good. Another ugly loss for the Browns on the other side of that coin. Their defense was good against the Titans. 269 total yards given up, no touchdowns, 2 sacks and a fumble recovery, but their offense is just a mess. Deshaun Kaiser, as you said, was benched in the third quarter. 12 of 20 overall, 114 yards and 2 interceptions. He was replaced by Cody Kessler, a rookie. He wasn't much better. 10 for 21, 119. No touchdowns, 1 interception, and 2 sacks. Injury-wise, Minnesota center Nick Easton is questionable, and they do have some holes in the secondary. I don't think that's going to matter here. Cleveland, many issues on the defensive line, and in the secondary, a lot of questionables there. Look, all Minnesota has to do is run the ball and let Case Keenum manage it and let their defense hold Cleveland in check, and I think this will be not an easy win. I think Cleveland's defense is pretty good, and I think their rush defense against Minnesota's rushing offense is going to be interesting. How Jerick McKinnon and his backup Latavius Murray handle Cleveland's rushing defense, which is number 9 in yards, only giving up 3 per carry and 83 per game. But I think this is going to be a Minnesota win. I agree with you. Cleveland will beat that spread. I think it's a little high even for them, and I'm going to take the under.
Week 8, Game 3, Oakland Raiders at Buffalo Bills. This could be the game of the week for me, John. The Bills are a 4-2 team that need to be respected and reckoned with. Kind of. Anyway, Sunday's last gasp win against the Buccaneers shows a team that knows how to win games, and that is the truth of the matter. You know, this time last year, they'd have lost that. You know that, right?
Absolutely.
The Raiders squeezed out a win against the Chiefs in last Thursday's game and could be without Marshawn Lynch, who's got a 1-game suspension for grabbing the official. Idiot. Anyway, he's of course appealing, but we'll wait and see. Both teams know how to get it done, but with the game in Buffalo and the Bills feeling good, I'm going with the Bills for the win, John. How are you calling it, mate?
Yeah, Buffalo's giving 3 at home, 45.5 over-under. That's those are both about right. Oakland Raiders, Derek Carr was superb in their win over the Chiefs. 29 of 52, too many passes in my mind. 417 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and no sacks. Very important since he's still nursing that back injury. They needed every one of those yards because there was no rushing game. Marshawn Lynch was ejected, and overall they were 21 for 88 and no touchdowns. Wide receiver Amari Cooper, the player of the game. A career day, 11 receptions on 19 throwing attempts at him, 210 yards and 2 touchdowns. Boy, Giants, don't you wish you still had him?
Hello.
Oakland's rushing D, number 21 in yards. They did hold in the league in yards given up, but they did hold running back Kareem Hunt to 18 for 87, which is actually pretty good.
That is amazing.
Yep, and KC overall 23 for 94. Their pass defense did get lit up by Alex Smith, though, 25 for 36, 342, and 3 touchdowns. But they won the game. Kansas City basically lost the game. They'll take whatever they can get. Buffalo, they withstood a wild fourth quarter against Tampa Bay, but they pulled it out. Their pass defense did give up a lot of yards to Jameis Winston, the quarterback for Tampa, 384 and 3 touchdowns. But their rushing defense did hold down let's say it's an anemic rushing game. Doug Martin, their running back for Tampa Bay, only 20 for 49. The team overall 25 for 69. Buffalo's rushing game, on the other hand, was very strong. 33 for 173 and 2 touchdowns. And Tyrod Taylor, their quarterback, did what he had to do. He just was efficient with the ball. 20 for 33, 268, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, very important, and 1 sack. Injury-wise, Oakland has some holes and questionables on defense. Buffalo wide receiver Jordan Matthews is questionable, and they have 2 possible outs on D. Look, Buffalo has an excellent defense, and I think they're going to have a lot of answers for anything Oakland throws at them. Oakland did get a lot of help in that win over Kansas City, in particular 2 penalties that extended the game for Oakland to finally win it with their passing offense. I think Carr can get some yards. I don't think they're going to get a lot of yards on the ground, whether or not they have Marshawn Lynch rushing. Buffalo's number 5 rush defense is not easy to run on.
No.
Pass defense as well for Buffalo, 9 interceptions, 13 sacks in 7 games. This could be a trap game, though, Buffalo. Watch out. You have a big game on Thursday night against the New York Jets on national television, so don't overlook this game. But I'm going to take the Bills to win. They're not going to beat that spread. I think this is going to be a very tight game. I think it might actually score some points, too, on both sides, and I'm going to take the under even so.
Week 8, Game 4, Indianapolis Colts at Cincinnati Bengals. Ugh. Indy looked pretty bad on Sunday, mate, I've got to be honest. They got shut out for the first time since 2003. And their quarterback, Brissett, looked average at best. I've got to say, they actually looked lost without Andrew Luck.
Yeah, absolutely.
You think?
Yeah, absolutely.
As for the Bengals, they actually stood and traded punches with the Steelers for the first half. That's until the Steelers decided to knock Andy Dalton about and sack him 4 times and on and on and on.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is a tough one to call, but I see the Colts rallying and getting the win on the road. Yeah, you heard me. It's the Colts for me, John. Am I insane?
Well, 9.5 Cincinnati at home. Maybe insane. A 41 over-under. I think that's right. Look, Colts are terrible. I don't think you have to say anything else.
Yeah.
Their pass defense against Jacksonville gave up 330 yards to Blake Bortles.
Ouch.
Good heavens. He showed up for once. 18 of 26, 1 touchdown, 1 sack. Rush defense gave up 122 yards on 9 rushes. Obviously, some big chunk plays there to backup running back TJ Yeldon.
Who?
Remember him?
No.
Nope, neither do I. 37 for 188 overall rushing for Jacksonville. So, yeah, Indianapolis has nothing going for them right now. Jacoby Brissett, 22 of 37, 200 yards. Okay, not too bad. No touchdowns, no interceptions, 10 sacks.
How many?
10 sacks. Ow. My God, if you want to talk about being in an ice bath for the next week, it's going to be him. Running back Frank Gore, well, I'm not going to help you. 9 rushes for 34 yards. That's not going to do anything for anybody.
No.
Cincinnati, tough but expected loss at Pittsburgh. They don't win there very often. Andy Dalton looked great for a half, as he said. 17 to 30, 140 yards, 2 touchdowns, but those 2 interceptions really hurt. Joe Mixon, the running back, he sort of did a little better, I guess, than he's usually been doing. He's only averaging about 38 yards a game. 7 for 58 on the ground, 3 receptions for 20 yards, but it wasn't enough. And the rush defense gave up 134 yards to Pittsburgh running back Le'Veon Bell. That's going to hurt as well. Holes on defense for Indianapolis. Of course, that's not going to help anybody. Nobody significant out for Cincinnati, so they should be in good shape. Extra points, look, Indianapolis, their rush defense is terrible. Their pass defense is terrible. Cincinnati has a bad rushing offense, but they might get better against that rush D. Their passing defense is number 29, and Indianapolis has a number 29 pass defense, 301 yards per game they're giving up, 7 interceptions against 10 touchdowns and 13 sacks. Joe Mixon, if you want to try and show that you're worth the money they're paying you, I'm sure it's not much, you should probably try and do something in this game. That said, I'm going to take Cincinnati to win this for sure. I do think Indianapolis is going to beat that spread, though, and I'm going to take the under.
Week 8, Game 5, Los Angeles Chargers at New England Patriots. Right then. Sunday's Week 7 victory against the Broncos gives the Chargers a 3-game winning streak and pushes them to 3-4.
Yep.
Bit of trivia for you, John. This was also win number 100 for Chargers quarterback Phillip Rivers.
Wow.
Did you know that?
I did not. I thought he would have gotten that already.
As for Brady and co., even with the fog, it was clear to see, yeah, you heard me, it was clear to see that the Patriots defense dominated the Falcons. Right, they're now 5-2 and they look Super Bowl worthy to me, matey. Yeah. The team finally looks as good as Brady, and that spells trouble.
Yes, sir.
With New England finally talking to each other, I'm saying the Patriots to win. It'll be 6-2 next weekend, John. Am I mad?
No, they're giving 5.5 at home, 49 over-under. I think this is going to be an interesting game for me. I think this might be the game of the week. Chargers are looking very good, 3 straight wins. Their defense has started to play better. They were terrible for a long time early in the season, but they're coming together. Phillip Rivers, what can you say? He looks great right now. 15 of 26, 183 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, very important, 3 sacks. The running game with a compromised running back, Melvin Gordon, he's still got some issues injury-wise, but they were okay. 26 for 80. Melvin Gordon, 18 for 38. Good sign, though. They kept running the ball 26 times.
Yeah,
that's very helpful against the best rushing defense in the NFL. So that's also very, very positive for them. Defense has been a weak spot, but they were very good against Denver. Everybody's good against Denver right now. Trevor Siemian, the Denver quarterback, only 207 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception, and 5 sacks. The running game was nowhere, 19 for 69. Running back C.J. Anderson, remember him?
No.
Nope, neither do I. 10 for 44, no touchdowns. Patriots, what can you say? They came to play. They wanted to prove to Atlanta that it wasn't a fluke in the Super Bowl, and Tom Brady is the guy to do it for you.
Yeah.
Tom Brady, as always, efficient and just brutal to your opponents.
He's a machine. The guy's a machine.
21 to 29. I think they should scratch his skin and see if there's metal under there. 21 for 29, 249, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 2 sacks. Running back by committee for New England did a very good job. 36 for 162 yards, 5 rushers with positive yards. That's very good for them. When's the last time the Patriots ran it 36 times, even with some of those good players? Yeah. I don't know, so don't ask me for an answer on that. Defense held its own against a faltering Atlanta offense. 353 yards total given up, but only 1 touchdown. And Atlanta 2 for 9 converting on 3rd down, 3 for 12 3rd and 4th down conversions overall. Injury-wise, Chargers have their biggest concern is Melvin Gordon. I'm hoping he's going to be able to play well. If he does, I think that's going to be a factor in the game. He is questionable right now. New England, Chris Hogan, wide receiver, is questionable, and you have some holes on D. That's not going to help them. They're not a good defense anyway, despite what Atlanta was not able to do against them. Extra points. Los Angeles Chargers, number 31 in rushing defense. So New England, get those running backs moving again. 146 yards, 140.6 yards per game they give up. New England's rushing offense, 110 yards per game, so that could be a good matchup for New England. Los Angeles, they do have a good passing defense against the number 1 passing offense in the league. And the Chargers have a good passing offense against a terrible passing defense for New England, so I think there are going to be a lot of points scored in this game. To control it on either side, the running backs, I think, are going to have to be the difference, particularly for Los Angeles Chargers.
Yep.
Melvin Gordon has to gain some yards, or whoever it winds up being, against New England's defense. That said, I'm going to pick an upset here.
Whoa.
I'm going to take LA to win this game.
Really?
I say they're going to beat the spread, obviously, and I'm going to take the over.
I think you've been on the drink, mate. Week 8, Game 6, Chicago Bears at New Orleans Saints. What can you say about Chicago? What can you say about Chicago?
Nothing.
If ever there was a team that knows how to grind out a result, come on, John, it's these boys.
Yeah.
Last week, I said they'd get to my favourite quarterback, Cam Newton. God bless him. And they did. Seriously did.
Bless us.
Anyway, I'm guessing he's still in the ice bath talking of that.
Yeah.
He'll be in the ice bath right now shouting, Mommy. Anyway, as for the Saints, Drew Brees is a consummate pro.
Yep.
Week after week, year after year. I mean, he just knows how to get it done. He's so bloody solid.
Yeah.
So solid that yesterday he reached his 500th career passing touchdown.
Amazing.
No, seriously. I mean, because of that and the fact that the Saints are on a 4-game winning streak, I'm going with the Saints. I think they're going to win it. How about you, John?
Yeah, they're given 7.5 at home, 48 over/under. I think those are about right. Maybe a little high on the spread there, since Chicago's defense is so good. Big defensive win for the Bears over Carolina. 2 defensive touchdowns. Otherwise, it was a 3-3 game.
Yeah.
It probably would have ended in a tie.
Absolutely.
Quarterback Mitch Trubisky did exactly what he should do, which is not throw the ball. 4 of 7, 107. No touchdowns, no interceptions, and 4 sacks. Their rushing game, I was a little surprised they weren't that good, although Carolina's rush defense is excellent. 26 for 68 overall, under 3 yards per carry. Jordan Howard, the running back for the Bears, held to 21 for 65. Their defense, though, was tremendous. Cam Newton, 2 interceptions, 5 sacks, boom. D gave up 108 yards rushing to I don't know who. I know who. Cam Newton, because he was their leading rusher at 9 for 50. New Orleans, great comeback against a depleted Green Bay. They were down early, but Drew Brees was not looking terrific. He had 2 interceptions early in the game, but they came back, overcame that, and pulled it out. 27 to 38 for Mr. Brees, 331, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, and 1 sack. That 1 touchdown, of course, is 500th overall. Yeah. Good sign for them. Mark Ingram, the running back, I think is very happy that Mr. Peterson has gone west. He ran for 22 for 105 yards and a touchdown. And the rushing game overall was terrific. 36 for 161, 2 touchdowns. Running back Alvin Kamara was also very good for them. Defense did give up 131 yards on the ground to the only Aaron that matters anymore in Green Bay, Aaron Jones, their running back. But they held Brett Hundley, their quarterback sub, to 12 for 25, 87 yards. Ouch. and no touchdowns and 1 interception. Injury-wise, Chicago has several wide receivers that are questionable. They do need help there, although I don't think you really want to have Chicago throwing the ball too much. Mr. Trubisky, God bless you. New Orleans, nobody significant really injured. Chicago's defense and their running game will keep this game close, but I think at the end, there's too much Mr. Breeze and too much offense at home for New Orleans. New Orleans will win this. Chicago will beat that spread. I think it will be closer than people think. I'm going to take the under.
Week 8, Game 7, Atlanta Falcons at the New York Jets. We've used this term before, John, Super Bowl hangover. And I think the Pats have found a Falcons team with a post-Super Bowl stress syndrome here. I don't know, I just made that up, by the way.
Anyway. It sounds good to me.
Okay, they were dominated by New England. Their quarterback, Ryan, got shut down, and their offense, I think they're still trying to find themselves. As for the Jets, sheesh. I mean, they beat themselves up in Miami in Week 7. Yeah. How on earth did they give up 12 penalties for 124 yards?
Ouch.
Add that to the fact that they've now been flagged a ridiculous, hold on to your hat, 67 times in 7 games. Are they done? Is this it? Oh, I don't know. Anyway, with Atlanta at 3-3, actually the Jets are at 3-3 as well. This will be a tough one, but I'm giving it to Atlanta on the road. How about you?
Yeah, I think Vegas agrees with you. Falcons are giving 4.5 on the road. That's a little surprising considering how badly they're playing and how the Jets do play good defense. Atlanta, what can you say? I mean, you had the opportunity to go to New England and prove yourselves, even though you've been having some trouble this season on offense, and you don't get anything done. I guess everything got lost in the fog in that game. Terrible 3rd and 4th down efficiency. 2 for 9 on 3rd down. 3 for 12, 3rd and 4th overall. Offense, otherwise it was okay. Matt Ryan, the quarterback, 23 of 33, 233 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, 1 sack. Running back by committee, though, 22 for 120 yards overall. Devontae Freeman's at 12 for 72. All right, that's not that bad. 6 different players caught passes for positive yards. So why are you losing the game? I don't know.
It's Atlanta.
It's Atlanta. Jets, well, the Jets there are no mysteries for the Jets. The Jets are the Jets. And they had another Jet-like loss in Miami. Josh McCown was solid, 17 for 27, 209 yards, 3 touchdowns and an interception, 3 sacks, though. Running backs Bilal Powell and Matt Forte were decent, 16 for 84 combined, but their passing defense gave up a lot of yards and a lot of points, 25 for 34, 304 yards, 4 touchdowns to Miami's quarterbacks, who had not been doing very well up until that point.
Nope.
They did hold Jay Ajayi down, 23 for 51, but they have given up 14-point leads in 2 straight games in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's brutal. Atlanta, lots of holes on defense, and place kicker Matt Bryan is also questionable. Both running backs for New York, Bilal Powell and Matt Forte, are questionable, and linebacker Muhammad Wilkerson is also questionable. Atlanta is 0-3 against the AFC East.
Ouch.
I would say one of those losses, obviously, but not 3.
Yeah.
And could it be 0 for 4? I don't know. They will probably have a hangover from that loss at New England, and I think they're lost right now overall on offense and defense. I'm not sure what they're going to do about it. Trap alert for New York. They have a home game against Buffalo on Thursday night, so you shouldn't overlook this game. Who would overlook the Atlanta Falcons? But that's possible. That said, I'm going for 0 for 4. I'm going to take the Jets to win this game.
Wow.
I think they're going to beat that spread, obviously, and I'm going to take the under. I don't think a lot of points are going to get scored in this game.
Week 8, Game 8, San Francisco 49ers at the Philadelphia Eagles. The 49ers now sit at 0-7, and things just don't look like they're going to get better anytime soon, John.
No, sir.
They've got a rookie quarterback who was sacked 5 times and didn't even get them into the end zone until he ran one in the 4th quarter, which is crazy. Yeah. By the way, the 49ers are now the first team ever to lose 5 straight games by 3 or fewer points.
Ouch.
I know, right? Just so you know, we record this show on a Monday night here in New York. The Eagles play tonight, and as it stands, they're 5-1. If it turns out we called Week 7's Monday night game correctly, they'll be sitting at 6-1 by the time this show goes out. Even if they lose to Washington tonight, though, I can't see him crumbling against San Fran.
No.
It's the Eagles all the way for me, John. How about you?
Yeah, I agree with you. Eagles giving 10.5. Ouch, poor San Francisco. You wouldn't think they would deserve that, but with those 5 games that they've lost so closely. But I think Dallas put a number on them in Vegas season.
I think when it's over, it's over.
When it's over, it's over. I agree with you. They get blown out by what I call an angry Dallas squad.
Yeah.
I think there was a lot of venting of frustration on that team. Defense for San Francisco gave up 501 yards, 40 points, 265 yards rushing. Yada, yada, yada. Just kept going downhill from there. Offense had nothing to counter Dallas. C.J. Beathard, their quarterback, 235 yards. Not bad. No touchdowns. 5 sacks. Ouch. Running back Carlos Hyde, 14 for 68. That wasn't enough to help. Philadelphia is 17-9 at home since 2014. I see that continuing. They had the number 1 rush defense in yards right now, 3.8 per attempt, 65.7 per game. Philadelphia does have a bad passing defense, but I don't see that helping San Fran. Number 24, they are giving up 274 yards, but they have 14 sacks, ouch, 6 interceptions against 9 touchdowns. Injury-wise, San Fran has many holes on defense. Philly is missing running back Darren Sproles. He's on IR, and they have some other minor holes on defense. I don't think it'll make that much of a difference. San Francisco's passing offense has given up 23 sacks this year.
Oh, come on.
That could get to 30 in this game.
Yeah.
Carlos Hyde's just not doing it for them, and C.J. Beathard, unfortunately, you're now a starter for the San Francisco 49ers. Good luck to you, sir. Philadelphia wins this game, no doubt. Philly does beat the spread. I said they didn't when I wrote this, but I think they will. And if the over-under is 41 or less, I'm going to take the over.
Week 8, Game 9, Carolina Panthers at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Well, John, another week and another Panthers meltdown. I'm not a big Newton fan, am I?
No.
You know, well, I hate to say it, but it's true. But I'll give him this. If you've got an offense without an identity, and Carolina has just that, how are you going to win any game?
No.
Seriously. Tampa on Sunday, they were crazy. Down 3 points to the Bills with 14 seconds to go. Tampa got freaky with what has to be one of the longest plays time-wise in NFL history. Look, with the Panthers sitting at 4-3, they don't look like they've got the stuff to win the division for me, John.
Yeah.
I'm going Tampa. What are you thinking, mate?
Yeah, I agree. This one is an interesting game. Tampa's giving 2.5 at home. Little surprising considering how bad Carolina's playing right now.
Shocking.
44 over and under. That's also a little high considering that defense is probably going to rule the day. But whatever. Okay. A disaster on the midway for Carolina. Oof. Their offense was offensive.
Yeah.
Cam Newton, 2 interceptions, including a pick 6. He was leading rusher for the team, 9 for 50. Interception and fumble return for a touchdown. It was a 3-3 tie otherwise.
Yeah.
And they just blew it. Rushing game was terrible, 21 for 58 other than Mr. Newton. Defense was solid against what you have to say is an anemic Bears offense. 4 sacks, 107 passing yards, and they did hold running back Jordan Howard to 21 for 65. So there's a little bit of a bright spot, but Carolina's defense was always decent. Tampa Bay, tough loss at Buffalo. Man, what a wild fourth quarter that was. Jameis Winston looked great. 32 of 44, 382, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, 1 sack, but they didn't have a lot of run support. 25 for 69 overall. Running back Doug Martin, only 20 for 49. The rush defense also gave up 173 yards and 2 touchdowns to Buffalo rushers. Buffalo also forced 6 Tampa Bay fumbles and recovered 2.
Wow.
So you can't shoot yourself in the foot like that or you're not going to win.
Yep.
Carolina, injury-wise, defensive end Julius Peppers and some other holes on D. He's out. Cam Newton is questionable,
Really?
but will play, I'm sure. Jameis Winston is questionable. He'll also play, and there's some holes on defense for Tampa Bay as well. Extra points. Tampa Bay has won the last 2 games at Carolina in tight, low-scoring games, 17-14, 17-16. I think it'll be the same this time around. I'm going to take Tampa Bay to win this. I say they're going to beat the spread, and I think it is going to be the under on that over-under.
Week 8, Game 10, Houston Texans at Seattle Seahawks. Following their bye week, the Texans find themselves with a 3-3 record, and I am to think that in rookie Deshaun Watson, the Texans have found their quarterback of the future.
Absolutely.
Hang on, John. I've got one for you, John. Rookie of the year?
Sure, I agree.
Why not? Great. The kid's doing fantastic.
Well, him or Aaron Judge.
Oh, that's baseball, surely.
I don't know. I thought they were going to give Aaron Judge everything.
We're mixing games here. Anyway, what can you say about Seattle? The Seattle Seahawks are making a habit out of winning games, even with a poor start on offense.
Yeah.
Look, they're at home next week, and they face a Houston team that's without, obviously, J.J. Watt.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for Houston. I think the Texans are going to give them a game, though, but I see a victory for the Seahawks. Am I mental?
No, I think you're right on point with Vegas, at least. Seattle is giving 5.5 at home, 42 over-under. I think those are both pretty good. Yes, a bye week for Houston. Week before against Cleveland, they looked terrific, but, well, it's Cleveland. Deshaun Watson is a star in the making. I think he's going to be really, really terrific this year and for many years going forward. As long as he doesn't run the ball too much, you know how I get about that.
He sees money now.
Overall, 15 touchdowns versus 5 interceptions. How many rookies do that right? 14 sacks, though, 61.5% completions, number 22 in the league. Houston's rushers, though, they're helping him out. 33 for 123 against Cleveland. Their rushing offense is number 3 overall, averaging 137.7 yards per game. That's very good. Seattle, they had a great win against the Giants. I was pleased to see that, although I am a Giants fan, unless, the Giants are this year. Quarterback Russell Wilson was terrific, 27 of 39, 334 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and only 1 sack. Running back by committee got it done for them, 31 for 104 yards. Their defense also held New York to 177 total yards and 7 points. Ouch. They also held down my favorite, New York running back Orleans Darkwa.
Come on!
Only 9 for 25. That was painful. New York Giants rushers overall 17 for 46. No good. Injury-wise, Houston has some questions on offense and defense. Seattle, Richard Sherman, cornerback, and Nazir Jones, linebacker, are questionable for this game. I think they will play, though. Seattle pass defense has only given up 5 passing touchdowns all year. Houston pass defense has 15 sacks and 7 interceptions versus 10 pass touchdowns. Trap alert, Seattle. You have Washington coming to town next week. Make sure you take care of business here. That said, I don't know. I love this guy, Deshaun Watson. I'm going to pick the upset here. Houston's going to win this game. They will beat that spread, obviously, and I'm going to take the under.
Week 8, Game 11, Dallas Cowboys at Washington Redskins. John, Dallas are on track, and Elliott was the best player on the field Week 7 against the 49ers, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Basically, the Cowboys' running game has picked up right where they left off before their bye week. Prescott looks like he's getting better and better every week, and that spells trouble for every single team in the NFC. Washington adopted the motto, apparently, by any means. I'm thinking that if Washington can protect Cousins better than they did the first time round with the Eagles, we'll have a game and a half here. I'm seeing Dallas coming to the Capitol, though, and nicking this one, John. What are you thinking, mate?
Yeah, Washington giving up 1.5 at home. You can see how close this game is that way. There's no over-under yet because of the game still to be played tonight. Dallas, big win for them in San Francisco. Dak Prescott was very efficient, 16 for 25, 234, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, no sacks. Ezekiel Elliott, you're absolutely right, 26 rushes, 147 yards, 2 touchdowns. Dallas rushing overall, 43 for 265 and 3 touchdowns. Very, very good. Defense held San Francisco to 10 points, sacked C.J. Beathard 5 times, and held running back Carlos Hyde to 14 for 68. So they were running on all cylinders there. Washington, overall, their passing offense has 9 touchdowns against 2 interceptions. That's very good, and 8 sacks. That's also good. Washington has the number 5 rush defense in yards, 4 yards per carry, 88 per game. Washington pass defense has only given up 6 touchdowns against 15 sacks, but they only have 5 interceptions. They need to start pushing that up. Nobody really significant out for Dallas. Washington, nobody so far, but we have to see what happens tonight. Dallas has won the last 3 games at FedEx Field, last 2 by a total of 7 points, 4-2 since 2014 overall against Washington. Dallas, their pass defense is number 7 in yards, but only 2 interceptions versus 11 touchdowns given up, 16 sacks though. Ezekiel Elliott, is he back?
What is going on now? Seriously, what is going on?
Are they set now? And has this distraction now been passed? Is he going to play the rest of the season? That's a big question for them. As long as they are on track, as you said, I think they are very, very hard to beat. That said, I'm going to take Washington in this game.
Ooh.
I think there could be some upset fever going on here. Washington will beat the spread, and if the over-under is 49 or less, I'm going to take the over. I think this will be a firefight.
Week 8, Game 12, Pittsburgh Steelers at Detroit Lions. The Steelers dominated the Bengals in Week 7, and for Big Ben and Le'Veon Bell, it was business as usual.
Yep.
They really do look hard to beat, don't they, mate?
Yeah.
Look, at 5-2, they've given themselves a nice little cushion over the rest of the AFC North. For Detroit, their bye week couldn't come quickly enough. You've only got to look at Matt Stafford. I mean, his body has taken a battering.
Yeah.
Anyone who's been sacked 17 times, never mind during the past 3 games, is going to be hurting big time. They're sitting at 3-3 and come off a Week 6 smashing by the Saints. I'm going to be sticking with the steal here, John. It's Pittsburgh for me. What about you?
Yes, I agree with you. Pittsburgh giving 3 on the road shows Vegas is on your side as well. 45 over-under, I think that's about right. Pittsburgh looked great over Cincinnati last week. Ben Roethlisberger, very efficient, 14 for 24, 224 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, no sacks. Le'Veon Bell was terrific, 35 for 134 yards. Their defense shut out the Bengals in the second half and held Andy Dalton to 17 for 30, 140 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and 4 sacks. Also, only 1 penalty for 5 yards for Pittsburgh. They're pretty bad at that, actually. Yes, as you said, Detroit had a bye week last week, and they are struggling on both sides of the ball right now. 52-38 loss was their last game that they played against the Saints. And Stafford, 25 for 52. And again, too many throws because there's nobody running the ball. 312 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and 5 sacks. Running game for them is non-existent, and I don't know how they're going to fix it. Amir Abdullah looked good early in the year, but 14 for 54 and no touchdowns against the Saints. That's not going to get it done. Injury-wise, Pittsburgh center Marquise Pouncey is questionable. That could be an issue for them. Detroit running back Dwayne Washington, who cares, and guard TJ Lang are also questionable. At guard TJ Lang, that could be an issue because that's going to give opportunities galore for Pittsburgh to knock Mr. Stafford on his butt. Pittsburgh's Le'Veon Bell, number 2 rusher in the league by yards, averaging 4 per carry, 97.7 per game, 42 first downs for him. That's big. Detroit's rushing defense, strangely enough, almost has the exact same numbers as Bell, giving up around 4 yards per carry and high 90s per game. Passing defense, Pittsburgh, number 1 in yards, 24 sacks. Ouch, Mr. Stafford. 6 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and 147 yards given up per game. Detroit's rushing offense is awful. 3.5 yards per carry, 84 yards per game. They've got to fix that, or Stafford's going to be running for his life. Pittsburgh, they have some issues with penalties. 50 for 420 yards this year, 9th worst in the NFL, so they got to clean that up. It was a good sign they only had 1 in the last game against Cincy. That said, I'm going with you. Pittsburgh will win this game. Pittsburgh will beat the spread, and I'm going to take the under.
All right, John, last one of the week. Week 8, Game 13, Denver Broncos at Kansas City Chiefs. It's a Monday night game. Is it going to be a good one?
No.
Okay. For the Broncos, Week 7 shutout was the first for the team since November 1992.
Ouch.
Now sitting at 3-3, they look to me like a team that has a quarterback in Trevor Siemian that looks lost, and the offense, I don't even know where that's gone. All right, and what can you say about the Chiefs last game? Losing to the Oakland Raiders 31-30, had to be crushing. They lost their second straight game and moved to 5-2 on the season. They still have Kareem Hunt, though.
Yes.
He is the savior, that boy.
Oh, yeah.
He eclipsed 100 yards for the 7th time in 7 games, and now his rookie record just keeps going and going and going. I see a big win for the Chiefs at home, mate. How about you?
Yeah, Kansas City giving 7 at home, 43.5 over-under. Not bad on both of those. Denver, they were MIA in LA last week. 149 total yards against what had previously been a porous Chargers defense. Trevor Siemian, ouch. 5 sacks, 1 interception, 207 total yards, and no touchdowns. They got shut out. Running back by committee, no help. 19 for 69, no touchdowns. Defense was decent. 242 yards for the Chargers, 2 pass touchdowns, only 76 rushing yards for the Chargers running backs, but they did give up a punt return for a touchdown, so nothing is working for the Broncos right now. Kansas City literally handed the game to Oakland in the final minute last week. So frustrating watching that game. 8 penalties for 108 yards, including 2 that extended the game for Oakland to finally win on their final touchdown.
Not great.
Not great at all. Alex Smith, however, the quarterback for Kansas City, was great. 25 for 36, 342 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and 1 sack. Running back Kareem Hunt, he was okay. 18 for 87, no touchdowns, 1 run for 34 yards, means that the rest of his rushes were 17 for 53, which is not so good.
Pretty good numbers for anybody else, though.
Well, yes, in this league right now, the teams don't run. So, yeah. Defense was another disaster. Oakland had 505 total yards. Derek Carr, quarterback, 417, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and no sacks. That defense has got to get themselves right or they're not going to win anything, let alone the Super Bowl or anything like it. Denver, their issues at wide receiver, linebacker Brandon Marshall is also questionable. Nobody knew out for Kansas City. Denver, 1 for 9 in the red zone in the past 3 games.
Did you say red zone?
Red zone.
Yeah,
I did
you
it.
did.
Ding, 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 ding. You are the winner. Kansas City. Kareem Hunt is still number 1 in the NFL. He's still got 5.8 yards per carry and 102.4 yards per game, including 8 20-plus yard runs and 25 receptions for 287 yards and 2 touchdowns. The kid is the complete package.
Yeah, he is.
He'll get them somewhere someday if they can get a good defense. Quarterback Alex Smith, 15 touchdowns against no interceptions. That's amazing. I had to look at that twice. But 21 sacks. Ouch, that's got to hurt. Denver's rush defense is still number 2 in yards, 3.0 per carry, 71.8 per game. And their pass defense is number 3 in yards with 16 sacks, but only 4 interceptions against 11 touchdowns. KC is the 3rd worst team in the league with 57 penalties for 536 yards, including those ones that ruined the game against Oakland. So what am I going to say?
What are you going to say?
I'm going to say Kansas City, I still love you. All that said, I love you, Kansas City. KC beats the spread, and I'm going to take the under in this game.
All right, that wraps up this week's show. See you next week.